You're listening to a Frequency Podcast Network production.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Welcome to the Saturday show on the Brock and Dalby Podcast. I'm Dalby. We've got some Text Us Tuesday, Text Us Thursday, Would You Rather Wednesday coming up for you. Stuff that we missed from the week. Plus, talking about the government trying to get flavored tobacco pouches banned. What is the equivalent of a hole-in-one in sports other than golf? And which names are slowly going extinct? That might surprise you. Before all that, remember the Brock and Dalby Show is online. If you search Brock and Dalby Show on either Instagram or on Facebook, you can follow along on there. That's where you're going to find all of our other posts. You'll find all the videos that we do from the show and, some contest opportunities as well from the show. But if you're just here for the podcast, well, I'll shut up and let you have it then.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Send or text 762-555. Ask a question. We'll try to reply. If you have a question, you can ask us anything that you want. We'll read it on the radio. 762-555.
You really leave
I'm making myself mad with the voice that I'm doing actually now.
You've become what you hate.
My roommate in college, anytime Blink-182 come on, he'd be like, whoa, do that for us.
Don't waste your time, you're This is the worst. You sound like a side character in Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah. First question we got in here, someone said, if a fly lands in your drink, do you fish it out and drink it, or do you throw out the drink?
You know what? I'm going to say it depends on what it is that I'm drinking. Because, if there's some booze in there, it's probably fine.
I'll also say it depends on if I paid for it or not.
That's a big thing. Like, if it's just a glass of tap water, I'd probably just go dump it out in the sink and refill the glass, right? That's super easy.
Yeah, but if I'm at a bar and it lands in there, I might just ask for another drink. Usually they'll be pretty cool about that.
You might be able to get away with that. You might be able, if you got like a pint and a fly lands in the foam, you're like, hey, can you do something about this? But if they say no, I'd probably just doink.
Also, who knows? Could get some superpowers out of it.
Flyman would be a terrible set of superpowers.
Someone texted and said, hey, this is Murphy. My work buddy Warren said I was a doofus a while back, and you guys gave me a shout out on the air. And you let Warren know that he's a simpleton for me.
I don't know. I mean, begging for something like that feels like doofus behavior. You know what I'm talking about? Like, Murphy, you're better than that, man.
Simpleton? I don't even know. I think you could have had a better chirp, to be honest.
I like the term simpleton, but it wouldn't be my go-to chirp. Like, I'll definitely refer to a person as a simpleton, but I wouldn't say, like, you're a simpleton.
I want to bring back Jackass.
Jackass really is just like a good, classic, staple chirp.
Yeah.
It fits so many categories. Just someone being dumb, someone being a wise ass, just someone being, like, irresponsible.
I also like Dingus.
You use dingus more than anybody I know, and it has found its way into my vocabulary as a result.
It's so subtle and gentle, but it can be very mean at the same time.
It has just this vibe to it, this feeling to the sound of it, that lets you know, like, this could be playful, but if I'm not smiling, I am upset with you.
Absolutely. Someone said, would you still go camping with Dalby, even with the risk of a high bear attack due to his recent roast beef perspiration situation?
Now it's a perspiration situation? Do I tell the people, do I smell like roast beef?
No, you haven't smelled like it since that day.
Have I smelled like, so not since that day.
Yeah.
So why are we still getting text? Also, to be clear, on that day, I also did not smell like roast beef.
You can't smell yourself.
The garbage smelled like roast beef.
There was no roast beef in the garbage.
You're telling me that no days leading up to and no days after, but that day certainly, I smelled like roast beef.
Yes.
That's wild.
That's what the whole story has been. My story has not changed.
No sense.
Would
you go camping with me?
Yeah, I would, because, if we get attacked by a bear, then he's going to get you. He's not going to get me. That's kind of the easy.
It's a classic not outrun the bear, but outrun your friend situation.
Yeah, I feel like that's common sense.
All right, good. So if we ever go camping and get attacked by a bear, I will not regret tripping you. That's my plan.
That's okay. He's still going to go after the smell.
Stop, you son of a...
All right, what's another one here? What is your favorite animal of all time?
Is it sharks? Sharks are pretty cool, man. Like, in terms of pets, it's dogs. Anything beyond dogs, I'm not really interesting. But I guess if you get out into the whole wide world, sharks are pretty cool.
Capybaras.
I think, which ones?
Capybaras.
Oh, like the big hamsters?
Yeah, those things are sick. They're just like chill as hell. All they do is sleep, snack, and of course just chill some more.
I think rhinos are pretty dope.
Yeah?
Just the build of a rhino. You're just like, that's a beast of an animal right there. Rhinos are sick.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
I went golfing over the weekend, and the group ahead of me, I saw the lads going nuts.
Just celebrating?
Off of par 3. And then when we caught up to them, I was like, what's going on over there? Like, this guy got his first hole in one.
Wow.
Which I think is a feeling I'll probably never know.
You know what? It's one of those things where if it happens, I won't necessarily be able to say it happened on purpose.
Pure fluke.
100%.
Pure fluke.
Right? Like, unless somewhere between now and like my retirement days, I really start to take golf seriously.
I'd probably quit golf. It doesn't matter what hole it is. I would leave. I'd go home. I'd never golf again.
Right. Why come back? You've reached the pinnacle for what a normal person can do.
I was curious because I was sitting with my buddy and we were talking about how, like, we're never going to get a hole in one.
Sure.
How rare it is to get a hole in one. The odds of making a hole in one are 12,500 to 1. That's for the average golfer.
Lower than I actually would have thought.
They say for a professional golfer, the odds of making a hole in one are 2,500 to 1, which, like you said, a lot lower than I thought it would be, considering to bowl a perfect game in bowling is 11,500 to 1. So the odds are like...
That's crazy to me. And especially like, because you say for pros, it's 2,500 to 1. And I know this is not specifically how statistics and probability work, but with how many holes that these guys play every single year, I mean, that means that every pro should likely be getting a hole-in-one a year.
Yeah, technically.
Right? Which, again, that's not necessarily how probability works, but the law of averages states that more of them should be getting a hole-in-one a year than are not. And that's crazy.
It's crazy because the same page that I was reading these stats on had... a hole-in-one isn't as hard as you think it is, because then it had all these other stats of things that are more likely to not happen to you.
That doesn't make the hole-in-one easy. It just makes things crazy.
You have a better chance of getting a hole-in-one than you do burning down your house, apparently. There's a 1 in 3,000 chance of that happening.
Well, good. If I ever burn my house down, if I ever get a hole-in-one, I'm going to be terrified to go home.
If you get a hole-in-one, you have a better chance of getting a hole-in-one than dying from a bee sting.
Oh, good. Well, I'm not the kid from My Girl.
What was the other one? Being killed by falling furniture. There's a better chance of getting a hole-in-one than furniture, like a piano falling on your head or something. A 1 in 5,000 chance.
Damn, that's a significant chance. That's also lower than I would have liked.
Better chance of getting a hole-in-one than apparently dying or being injured in your bathroom.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. Although... I stepped out of the shower the other day, and I almost ate it.
Yeah.
So,
hey, that means you're probably closer to getting a hole-in-one than you think.
I'm going to the golf course today. I'm due.
For everyone that slips out of the tub, they were that close. They were that close, man. Now, this is the craziest one that they had there. You have a better chance of getting a hole-in-one than you have by being killed by a meteorite, which makes sense.
Yeah, no, I would expect that I would get a hole-in-one before I would get hit by space debris.
But it's only a 1 in 3,000 chance. So technically, only professional golfers have a better chance of getting a hole-in-one before getting hit by a meteorite. Actually, the average person actually has a better chance of getting hit by a meteorite than a hole-in-one, because it said, 1 in 12,000 for the average person?
Well, now I'm uncomfortable to leave the building.
You have a better chance of space getting a hole-in-one on you than you do of getting a hole-in-one, is what that means.
A rock traveling the infinite cosmos is more likely to strike my skull than I am to get a 1 on a par 3.
Golf is a beautiful game.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
We've got friend of the show, Sue, on the phone. Sue, before we came on here, you were saying you got a hole-in-one before?
Yes, 2 months after I started playing.
Get out of here.
It sucks. I hate her.
So, Sue, pure luck on your part, you're going to say?
Well, I guess so.
Now, I gotta ask, there's this thing that I've heard over the years, so it's in 3 years that I've been golfing, that if you ever get a hole-in-one, you're supposed to buy a round of drinks for everyone. Did that happen in your case?
No, because it was COVID, so I was lucky enough that I didn't have to pay for anybody's drinks.
Dodged a real bullet there.
You know what? That might have been the one time I would have been happy to be living in the pandemic.
Yeah. But I always thought that if you get a hole-in-one, everybody should buy you a drink.
You know what? That's so true. I've never understood that rule. Why should I, if I've achieved one of the hardest things to do in sport,
Right.
buy everyone a round of drinks?
I cannot afford to get a hole-in-one during any kind of a busy time during a round of golf.
Yeah.
If there's more than 6 people in the clubhouse, I'll take a 2. I will go and I will take the ball back out of the hole and kick it back in.
Yeah.
I cannot afford this.
I honestly don't know if I'd tell anyone. There's I think it's in Japan. They have to buy hole-in-one insurance.
Oh, okay.
Because there's this thing that if you get a hole-in-one, I believe it's like you're supposed to buy gifts for all of everyone in your life or your family or something like that.
I guess the idea being like if you believe in like karma, spirituality, all that stuff, that for having such incredible luck bestowed upon you, the right thing to do is to turn around and redistribute that.
Screw that, man.
I'm not saying I agree with it, brother. I'm guessing that's the only thing that makes sense, because it's either that or it's just a bunch of other angry golfers in the clubhouse that are jealous.
Yeah.
Like, you better buy us a beer.
Yeah.
I didn't get a hole-in-one today.
Is the reason why you're supposed to buy the drinks is that so you don't lie? Is that what it is? Because, I mean, that's going to make me want to lie that I didn't get one.
Right, but the idea is if there was no sort of downside to it, people could just come in. Because
you can't be fibbing about your score.
Golf is supposed to be an honor system game. You could just come into the clubhouse and be like, yeah, got 18 hole-in-ones today, had a heck of a round.
Yeah.
And now they're like, oh, okay, you got a hole-in-one, prove it, buy everybody a beer.
In other sports, what would you say is the equivalent of a hole-in-one?
For hockey, would it be the goalie goal? When a goalie scores from their own ends?
Yeah, I guess it's the goalie goal. I was going to say the Gordie Howe hat trick, but that probably happens more often than anything.
Well, I mean, that one's getting less and less
with
as
fighting
is coming out. But you're right. That one also would be up there.
It's probably the goalie goal, though.
Probably.
Soccer, probably the same, the goalie goal.
The goalie goal, yeah, which, I mean, that's even more. I would say just anything from your own half going into the goal.
Football, what would that be? I mean...
Football's got to be the Hail Mary, right? Like the end zone to end zone last play of the game.
Is it the Hail Mary or is it the kick return for a touchdown? Because that's even another one where stats have gone down for that dramatically. No one's even returning the ball anymore.
No, that's right. That I think it used to be the Hail Mary. You're right. The way the game has changed, the kick return touchdown is probably just as impractical. It's actually probably more realistic to do the Hail Mary now.
Yeah.
With the arms some of these guys have in the league.
Is bowling the 300 or is it the 7-10 split?
Oh.
Because I feel like the 7-10 split very rarely happens versus bowling a 300. I think every professional bowler has done.
Well, and I would say that like bowling a 300 is like setting the course record in a round of golf. Like it's just having a really good game.
Yeah.
But as a one-off, like the hole-in-one, you could finish a round plus 30 in a game of golf, but you got a hole-in-one.
Yeah.
So I think you're right. I think the 7-10 split is, in terms of just, this is an incredibly difficult and rare thing for the average person to pull off.
Yeah.
Would go in that category.
And then I guess finally, what is baseballs? Is it the no-hitter?
It would either be the no-hitter or I would say maybe hitting the cycle.
The cycle.
The 1-2-3 home run.
The unassisted triple play actually might be the rarest play in baseball.
Damn. I don't think I've ever actually seen one of those.
Yeah.
What do? You just chase everybody down with the ball?
I think it's a very rare occurrence.
I love the idea of just one Terminator out on the field being like, you're all mine!
Yeah. The biggest feat is not falling asleep watching baseball.
That's the hole-in-one.
That's the hole-in-one.
Sitting in the nosebleeds and making it from first to last pitch.
Sitting on your couch and not falling asleep, dude. That's the hole-in-one.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast. Would you rather Wednesday? Would you rather Wednesday?
All right, let's get into it here. 762-555. If you got a would you rather question, you can still send it to us. We'll start with this one. Would you rather never wear shoes or never wear a shirt ever again?
I mean, I'm a little self-conscious because I got the old barrel here, but I think if I wasn't wearing shoes, I would limit the places I could go. Like, even if your feet could get used to, like, stepping on, like, uneven, hard ground or whatever, I'd never go to a public bathroom with no shoes on.
True.
100% no.
Yeah. I think if you build up enough callus, it doesn't matter.
He got hobbit feet.
And I mean, like, worst case, like, if you go the no shirt route, you can just be like those girls in Las Vegas and get, like, something painted on every day.
Oh, that would be cool. Turn your body into a canvas.
Yeah, you just can't get sweaty.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, see, then I'm out.
Yeah.
I cannot not get sweaty.
True.
I could turn myself into a billboard.
Would you rather live on a boat or live on an RV?
You know what? I think I would rather live on an RV. The idea of living on a boat or like a yacht sounds cool, but like bad weather, storms, waves, all that stuff. Like,
you'd feel trapped too, being out on the water sometimes. Yeah.
There's only so many places you can go, especially like if you're on a lake, like you can only go in that lake.
It depends. Are we on the run or are we cooking meth? Because, you know, one's better than the other.
You got a point there. Mm-hmm. Would you rather have smelling salts under your nose forever or the smell of filthy hockey mitts?
I mean, the hockey gloves stink.
Yeah.
The smelling salts would just keep you alert. The smelling salts genuinely can't be good for you because that's ammonia.
Yeah.
So,
it's probably not a good thing to have all times. And like, as much as it could keep you alert during the day, like if you're the type to kind of get tired at work or whatever, that could be okay. But like, do you think you could fall asleep if every time you breathe through your nose you were getting smelling
You're going to look
salts?
like you're on drugs. You're going to look like you're on drugs all the time. So I think you got to go the hockey mitts. And then I think it's like anything else. It's like having gross roommates. Like you get used to their smells after a while. You know?
Become nose blind, essentially, which is
yeah.
terrifying that your body can just turn off a smell.
We got one here. It says, would you rather be trapped in a horror movie or in a war movie?
Oh, I think I would have to say the horror movie because there's rules to a horror movie, right? Generally, there are some tropes that you can probably account for to try and stay alive. Whereas, I mean, let's be honest, brother. I don't think you or I have what it takes to be on the front lines as war heroes.
Yeah. I mean, the good thing about the horror movie, too, is you could be the killer.
Yeah, that's true.
I know it's terrible to say, but you could be the one that survives.
Right, like my best bet, probably our best bet, if we're in a war movie, is that we're part of, like, the USO show back at base. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, if I'm in a war movie, like, can I be the guy that, like, drops you guys off somewhere in the helicopter and then takes off?
Right, yeah. You're the plane that flies over the battlefield that everybody parachutes out of, and then you're just never seen or heard from again.
No, I want to be your sweetheart that says goodbye to you. That's my role if we're in a war movie together.
Only if you promise to dip me when I get home. Let's see. Would you rather be stuck wearing dirty underwear all the time or only wearing one sock at all times of the day? So whether you're awake or asleep, you've only got one sock on.
I mean, I think I'll just go the dirty underwear. I think we've all done it before. The one sock would just bug me. Like, I have, like, weird OCD with stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I just, and plus I hate, like, when my feet touch the inside of my shoes and you get that, like, wet feeling. And like,
although I had a very ADHD moment on the weekend. I was getting dressed. We were going to, like, go and do some stuff. I put on one sock, got distracted, started watching TV, and just sat there with one sock for a good 30 minutes. And I didn't really notice. So maybe it actually wouldn't be that bad. Versus wearing like dirty old smelly underwear.
True.
Maybe I go the one sock route and I just get a really nice insole for my left shoe.
All right, we'll wrap up with this one here. Someone said, would you rather smell like a skunk just sprayed your dog or naturally smell like roast beef?
Well, I've never met anybody in this world that naturally smells like roast beef, so I guess I can't really...
I would say I'd take the roast beef over the skunk, to be honest with you.
Well, of course, skunk smell is nauseating. It's disgusting. It is horrifying, whereas just to smell like deli meats is not the worst thing in the world. But again, why would any person smell like that? Don't look at me like that.
I didn't even say anything.
You don't have to say. You said it with your eyes.
I didn't even say anything. So we can both agree that you'd rather smell like roast beef.
Why are you saying we and then saying you? Like you're implying I would.
I'm
rather
saying I agree. Do you agree as well?
that you would want to smell like roast beef?
I would, but do you?
Well, over a skunk smell, sure.
There we go.
It's the look. It's the look on your face. You got a joke on deck, and I'm just waiting for it.
This is radio. No one can see my face. Nobody knows what you're talking
no, but
about.
I can, and that's why it's not fair. Because to them, I just sound crazy, but you know what you're doing.
Hey, settle down, Beefy.
I knew it.
That's mean, actually.
That's really mean.
That's way meaner than I meant it to be.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Canada is planning on banning the sale of flavored nicotine pouches in convenience stores and gas stations.
I mean, we already did the banned tobacco flavors in cigarettes and cigars and all these other things. It kind of feels like, yeah, this was only a matter of time.
Now, here's the interesting thing. Apparently, according to the health minister, they say that they're doing this because of obviously big tobacco being big tobacco once again. But they're saying that you might only be able to get them at like pharmacies, behind the counter kind of thing.
Imagine needing a prescription to dip.
Yeah. And it's weird because these pouches have kind of become the new thing amongst like the younger kids where it's like, kids weren't smoking cigarettes. They were just straight vaping.
Yeah.
Now kids are just straight packing lips.
Right. Well, yeah, because that's the thing is like for my generation, you actually had loose tobacco that you jammed into your
carry
lip.
around a 2-liter.
It was a mess. It was disgusting, right? And now you can't smoke in a lot of places. Vaping crackdowns are huge. So all of a sudden you take the what can be kind of subtle lip dip and you put it into a little pouch. Now you don't have all the mess and stuff like that. I still think it's disgusting, but I get why these things are so popular.
Yeah, it's huge right now with the kids. So, I mean, I get that it's kind of like the Juuls. They're trying to nip it in the butt while it's still hot right now. But it just feels weird to go to like Shoppers Drug Mart and be like, can I get some pouches?
10 of Zins, my good man.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
I want to congratulate both of us for not having names that are on the endangered name list. Have you seen this thing?
Endangered name list?
Yeah, apparently there's a website called nameberry.com, which they work a little bit behind because that way they can collect as much information as possible. But with their most recent year cataloged, 2022, they've released a list of names that fall into one of three categories, and that is endangered, meaning that from their studies, only approximately 20 to 50 babies born in, I believe it's North America, were given these names.
Oh my God, I thought you were going to say it's all people with these names that are dying off. I was like, this is terrible, dude. What are we doing right now?
No, it's new people being assigned these names.
Okay, I got you.
There's endangered, which is less than 50. There's almost extinct, which is under 20 babies with this name on their birth certificate. And then fully extinct, they say fewer than 5 children were given this name in 2022.
And this is in like North America, the United States, something
North
like that?
America, I do believe. So it's crazy to look at some of the names that are on the list, starting with like the endangered name list. Like names like Debbie or Bill are on this list.
So like common names are kind of starting to slide out of it?
People are starting to get so weird with their name decisions that some of the classic names like Rick is on this list.
Wow.
Yeah, like I understand that Rick is short for Richard, and maybe there are more parents that are like going with the formal spelling and like we'll let the kid shorten it as he gets older.
Well, you know what? I'm also not surprised because I mean even the name Dick has probably dropped off, I'd imagine as well, and that's because of people think of it in a more sexual nature, right?
Names like Tim, names like Vicky, names like Ron. Ron is on the endangered
Everyone's
list.
trying to give their kid a unique name, and I know this is coming from a guy named Brock or whatever, but everyone I feel like in this day and age is trying to give their kid like something unique and different to stand out.
Yeah, and that's why, so moving to extinct, which is, again, more than 5 but less than 20. Al is on this list. Bob is an almost extinct name.
Yeah.
The name Bob, like that's just such a classic. Now you got to have like a minimum of 6 vowels in any given name for it to be considered like cool or trendy. Nikki is on the way out. Phil. We are on the verge of running out of Phils.
We're not going to have a lot of real dads anymore, man. If these names are like, these are all peak dad names.
Right.
We're going to lose a lot of great dads.
And then moving to extinct. So again, fewer than 5 children listed in 2022. Names like Barb. Names like Bert. You want to talk about dad names? Bart, Bert, and Dick are all on the quote-unquote extinct list now.
I don't think I've ever actually met a Bart in my life, to be honest with you, but...
I've seen... You know what? Bart's a good athlete name. I've seen Barts on TV.
Yeah.
But you're right. I don't know that I've met a Bart, but...
We need to bring back old names, honestly, man.
Are you ready to live in a world where Ed is on the extinct list? We got less than 5 Eds.
Don't tell Ed from the county that,
That's
man.
Right.
I'm just glad that Buford wasn't on the list. Good to know that Buford's still hanging
No,
around.
Buford's still there. People are still using Buford.
Gladys? Gertrude?
You know what? Jerry and Gil and Glyn were all extinct.
Yeah.
Also, Herb is gone. Would this not be the perfect, if you are expecting right now, would a list of extinct names not kind of be the perfect place to find a name for your kid? To be able to go and be like, your kid's not going to grow up in a class of 15 Jadens or Cadens or Haydens or anything like that. He's just going to be a Dory. Also extinct, by the way.
I've never met anyone named Dory other than the fish before. I'm not going to lie about that one.
That's because it's an extinct name. It used to be a popular
Well, that's
one.
because they never found her, I guess. I don't know. I never watched the movie. Did they find her?
You know, now that you mention it, like looking at some of these names, like Wilf, and I mean, no,
What is Wilf?
it's an extinct name that apparently used to have some popularity.
I thought that was a category or something.
I mean, no disrespect to anybody who has one of these names, but I suppose maybe we could leave Madge in the past, you know what I mean? Maybe that's not the worst thing in the world.
Hey, that's my sister's name, dude.
Your sister's name is Madge Lewis? Your parents owe her so many apologies.
Don't be rude, man.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Text us today. 762-555. You can ask us anything, yes, anything you want. Text us right now. Because it's Thursday, baby. Text us the questions you're scared to ask everyone else. It was Brock October, by the way.
That's what it was. I couldn't put my finger on it.
I don't know if we've ever been asked this before. Is Brock and Dalby your real names or just radio names?
Nope. Mine's my real name. I never thought to do a fake name. I know a lot of people in this industry that have fake names.
Yeah, the fake name thing is, I feel like a thing of the past. And yes, my real name is Brock.
Yeah.
I remember my old man was like, "What's your radio name going to be?" And I was like, "No, I'm not doing that."
It's just like I especially a station that I started working at called The Bear in Edmonton.
They did all those cheesy ones.
Right up until I got there, they had been naming, like, they had a Park Warden and a Sled Dog Michaels and a Yukon Jack and stuff like that. And, like, they were all cool guys who had normal, cool names.
I always wonder with these nickname things, it's like... Because it's like wrestlers. Like, The Undertaker goes by The Undertaker everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Nobody calls him Mark Callis.
Like, do you think it's just something that, like, only your wife says your real name when she's angry, like your mom kind of thing?
Oh, yeah. You know what? Probably. Actually, I have seen interviews with The Undertaker's wife. She refers to him as Mark.
We worked with a guy in Regina who went by a completely different name than what his real name was, and his wife actually called him his radio name.
Yeah.
And, like, I didn't even know that wasn't his name until after working with him for like a year and a half till I saw his actual ID. It was a trip.
Blew my mind that it was like, oh, that's not even close.
Yeah.
But yeah, for us, I mean, if you search Dalby, you're not necessarily going to find me in the phone book, but that is my name.
What color do you think tastes the best and the worst? I mean, I feel like we both answered before that blue would be the best tasting color.
No, it's orange.
It's orange?
It's absolutely orange.
Okay.
Orange creamsicles, orange soda,
Orange
oranges.
creamsicles. Oh, God.
What?
Ew, dude.
You're insane.
Ew, dude.
You are insane.
Ew.
And the worst color is black. Because black is generally going to lead you to a black licorice flavor. And
I was going to say
gonna be a bad
green
time.
because it's just healthy.
I mean, green has its downsides, but also like good cooked asparagus, stuff like that.
Sure. Don't get me wrong. I like me some vegetables, but
Also, green Kool-Aid was categorically the best flavor of Kool-Aid.
was it? I thought it
Green
was
Kool-Aid
red.
was mint.
Yeah?
Second only, of course, to orange Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Which is also top
Orange
tier.
Kool-Aid is way better than green. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
That white Gatorade, that's like. That shouldn't be the flavor that it is because the way it looks like Elmer's glue.
Same with white Freezies. White Freezies might actually be the best of the Freezy flavors.
But it shouldn't be.
But that's not what white tastes like, right? You know?
White tastes like raisins in your potato salad.
Only if you're feeling spicy.
They keep asking every single week. Can we get another shout out to FLC, which they're claiming it stands for Forest Land Carpentry, but I'm pretty sure it stands for the famous Licking Cowboys.
Yeah, I don't know where they got this carpentry thing from. That's clearly not what it is.
Yeah.
It's the Licking Cowboys.
Yeah. I thought it was
100%.
the lingerie thing, but after some Googling, it is the famous Licking Cowboys. So shout out to FLC.
Famously so.
Someone said, what is the weirdest thing you find attractive in another person?
Oh.
I said it recently, actually, on air. Eating.
Yeah, the way that somebody eats.
Yeah, like if someone can put back some food.
Yeah.
I don't know why. That's kind of hot, man.
I think maybe this is a weird one, but the ability to sit silently. And I'm not saying like you be quiet while I'm talking. I'm saying if I find somebody that I can sit and we're not saying anything at all, not even necessarily watching TV, we're just sitting. Like, that's really attractive because that means that we're just on a level that we don't need to try and force.
You want someone who's on the same level of the spectrum as you, basically. That's essentially what you're saying.
Okay, so as soon as I started saying it out loud, yes, it did start to sound a little bit weird, but I'm standing by it, all right? You're not my doctor.
I'm happy for you, man.
You can't make that diagnosis.
I'm happy the pills are working.
For more Brock and Dalby, tune in weekday mornings 5:30 to 9.
The Brock and Dalby podcast is brought to you by badshop.ca, the Brock and Dalby merch store. With all proceeds going to the Canadian Cancer Society.